The first sign that you're becoming a profitable trader isn't found in your bank account, it's in your behavior. You begin to act differently when you finally understand that trading is not about constant action, but about disciplined waiting. The novice is obsessed with finding trades. The professional is obsessed with finding the right trade. When you start feeling comfortable doing nothing, when you can sit quietly and wait for your perfect setup without fear of missing out, you've crossed the first threshold. The great fortunes are built not by those who trade often, but by those who act only when the odds are in their favor. I remember the early years when I couldn't sit still. I felt the market owed me action every day. I believed that the more I traded, the more I'd earn. It took a long series of expensive lessons to learn that the market rewards patience, not activity. The moment you stop chasing trades and start waiting for them, you've already begun to think like a professional. The second sign is emotional control. The market is a mirror. It reflects back whatever you bring into it. If you bring fear, it will feed you panic. If you bring greed, it will tempt you into destruction. I learned this truth the hard way. I remember one trade where I had made a small profit, but greed whispered that I could make more. I stayed too long, ignored the signs, and watched that profit turn into a loss. It wasn't the market's fault, it was my lack of discipline. You know you're becoming profitable when losses no longer provoke rage and profits no longer provoke euphoria. You feel calm when you win and calm when you lose, because you know both are part of the same process. The trader who cannot master his emotions cannot master the market. But the moment you start treating trading like a business, not a casino, you've matured. The third sign is respect for risk. Most traders think they trade to win, but real traders trade to not lose. That's the paradox of success. You start every trade asking, "What if I'm wrong?" And you prepare accordingly. Every fortune I ever built came from protecting capital first and seeking profit second. It's not the size of your win that matters, it's the smallness of your loss when you're wrong. I used to trade like a soldier charging into battle without armor. I thought confidence meant taking large risks, but confidence without preparation is suicide. The market taught me humility. When I finally learned to respect risk, to cut losses fast, to never average down, and to size positions carefully, I found consistency. Risk control is not about fear, it's about survival. And survival is the foundation of profit. The fourth sign is consistency in execution. You stop jumping between strategies, indicators, and opinions. You settle on a method that fits your personality, and you master it. A trader without consistency is like a sailor without a compass. He may move fast, but he's lost. I tried every method you can imagine in my youth. I'd follow tips one day, rumors the next, and intuition the day after that. The result was chaos. When I finally built my own system based on price, timing, and confirmation, I learned that consistency builds confidence, and confidence builds profit. The fifth sign is that you stop trying to predict the market and start responding to it. You no longer care to guess what will happen tomorrow. You wait for the market to show you. The amateurs think forecasting is intelligence. Professionals know reacting is wisdom. The tape tells the truth before any analyst does. When you stop arguing with price and start following it, you align yourself with reality, not ego. The sixth sign of becoming profitable is that you develop patience in trends. You no longer panic at small pullbacks or exit too soon out of fear. You understand that big money is made by sitting tight. I learned this in my greatest trades when I caught a trend and held on long after most traders took profits. The hardest thing in trading is not getting in, it's staying in. You know you're maturing when holding a winning position becomes easier than closing it too early. There's a rhythm to every move, a wave that carries price from one extreme to another. The untrained trader rides only part of it and jumps off too soon. The seasoned trader rides it to completion because he knows the market will signal when it's time to exit. Until then, he waits calmly, without emotion. That patience is not laziness, it's mastery. The seventh sign is detachment from money. The day you stop measuring every trade by the dollar and start measuring it by how well you executed your plan, you've evolved. Money is just a scorecard. The real victory is discipline. Early in my career, a win felt like euphoria, and a loss felt like betrayal. I'd go from overconfidence to despair in hours. But once I detached my emotions from money and focused purely on performance, my trading became consistent. When you trade for process instead of profit, money starts to flow naturally. Ironically, the less you care about the outcome of one trade, the better you perform across many. Trading is a game of large numbers. The edge only reveals itself over time. Once you understand that, single trades lose their power to control you. The eighth sign is self-reliance. You stop seeking advice, signals, or validation from others. You trust your system and your discipline. Every trader eventually realizes that following others is the fastest road to ruin. The crowd will always be wrong at the extremes. I once lost a fortune listening to tips that contradicted my own reading of the tape. That was the last time I traded another man's opinion. When you begin to think independently, when you base decisions on your own rules and not on what's popular, you have crossed into professionalism. Self-reliance breeds conviction. Conviction allows you to hold through fear, to stay calm when the crowd is panicking. Without it, you will always be reactive, always chasing other people's certainty instead of your own. The profitable trader stands alone, not arrogantly, but confidently, knowing that success is earned through observation and experience, not borrowed from someone else's call. The ninth sign is acceptance of loss. Every great trader loses, but only the wise ones accept it with grace. Losses are tuition paid to the market for education. If you treat them as punishment, you'll become emotional. If you treat them as lessons, you'll grow. I've lost fortunes in a single trade, but those same experiences taught me lessons that built even greater fortunes later. You know you're becoming profitable when you stop trying to avoid losses altogether and start managing them intelligently. The market will humble everyone, no matter how skilled. What matters is how quickly you cut the mistake and how calmly you move on. A trader who can lose well will eventually win big. The 10th and final sign is calm confidence. It's not loud, not boastful, and not emotional. It's quiet. It's the look of a trader who's seen both victory and defeat and knows that neither defines him. When you reach this stage, you no longer seek excitement from trading. You seek clarity. You don't need to prove anything. You simply execute. I remember standing at the ticker one morning after a long run of winning trades. I wasn't excited. I wasn't proud. I was focused. Because I knew one thing: today's win doesn't guarantee tomorrow's. That's what the uninitiated never understand. Consistency requires humility. The moment you think you've mastered the market, it will teach you a new lesson. Confidence must always walk hand in hand with caution. To summarize these signs in spirit, not in sequence, you are becoming a profitable trader when your identity shifts from gambler to risk manager, from seeker of action to student of patience, from emotional reactor to disciplined executor. Profitability is not a number, it's a mindset. It's how you think, how you wait, and how you act under pressure. You stop blaming the market. You stop seeking shortcuts. You stop hoping. Instead, you start managing risk, executing plans, and trusting your process. You accept uncertainty as part of the game. You stop trying to control outcomes and focus instead on controlling yourself. True trading mastery doesn't come from one big win. It comes from 1,000 small acts of discipline. The profitable trader wakes up knowing that the next trade could be a loss, and yet takes it with full confidence because his system tells him to. That kind of composure can't be faked. It's forged through years of lessons, pain, and refinement. Most traders fail not because they lack intelligence, but because they lack patience. They seek excitement instead of consistency. They let emotions dictate decisions. But if you can conquer yourself, the market will eventually yield. The battle is not out there, it's inside you. When you notice yourself trading less but winning more, when your heart rate stays steady after a big loss, when you start thinking in probabilities instead of predictions, those are your signs. You're not just surviving the market anymore. You're playing on its terms. There will still be losing days. There will still be mistakes, but you'll handle them differently. You'll no longer panic because you know you've built something solid. Discipline. And discipline, not luck, is the true mark of a profitable trader. Every great fortune begins with one realization: the market rewards those who learn faster than they lose. The profitable trader is not the one who never falls, but the one who rises wiser each time he does. So, if you see these signs in yourself: patience, control, consistency, detachment, self-reliance, take heart. You're on the right path. You may not feel it yet, but the shift has already begun. The market is starting to respect you because you've learned to respect it. And when that happens, profits stop being accidents. They become the natural result of who you've become. You no longer chase success, it starts chasing you, because you've finally mastered the only thing that ever mattered in trading: yourself.